I have 624 individual cards, 74% of all Super Nintendo USA releases.
There's also some obscure peripherals.
11, 12, 13, 14. One of the things I always like to get was ridiculous and crazy controllers. Yeah, this looks like Harvest Moon. 6 Space Invaders games. Super Noah's Ark 3D. These are super collectible nowadays. I think it's like a Game Genie.
JuntSNES, JuntSNES.
JuntSNES. Frankie, we're coming to the end of the most interesting pieces of my collection, but there is a critical aspect that we have not yet explored, which is what are my favorite games?
The games are important when it comes to video games.
Absolutely. What I've done is I've collected 6 of my most favorite games, and I want to take a look at them with you today. We got a nice analog TV setup, got a nice fun environment.
How do you feel about playing games like these on HD? Do you think this is superior?
I don't know if it's superior, but I certainly love it just as much.
It's designed for it.
Yeah, I think if I had enough room, I would definitely have a big, huge tube TV setup, because I think that's the way these games are meant to be played. So, let me talk about one of my first favorite games, Tetris and Dr. Mario Combo Pack. It was the first exposure I ever had to 2-player Tetris. The NES version, of course, did not have 2-player. There was a 2-player version by Tengen, but it was pulled from the shelves due to copyright violations, so not many people ever saw it.
Did Tetris for the Game Boy come out before this one? Because I remember playing Game Boy Tetris, Link Cable.
You're probably right. Well, it was certainly, as I said, my first exposure to it.
Well, it's an important aspect of Tetris.
Yeah.
Not only are you playing to get the most number of pieces, you're sending pieces at the other person.
Yes.
And that now, with Tetris 99, it's like an essential aspect of Tetris.
Absolutely. I kind of upplayed the Tetris, but there's also Dr. Mario in here.
Are you a Dr. Mario guy?
My girlfriend is, and she'll be very disappointed in me at my performance.
I used to play this quite a bit with Lisa.
He was her Sherpa.
We're gonna play a quick mixed match, Keith, okay? A mixed match is one game of Dr. Mario and a game of Tetris.
Lisa went to med school with John to get good at Dr. Mario.
Med school.
Crap, this is B-type. I gotta go faster.
Who's the idiot?
Me!
You're more of an idiot than me?
Frankie's like insulting my playing here. It's definitely helping. Oh no, we cleared it!
What does that mean?
So you move on to Dr. Mario.
Oh, this is neat.
It actually can run both game cores at the same time.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I take things like that for granted these days.
Yes, I mean, but at the time, this whole idea was pretty awesome.
Somebody on the left there is pretty decent at Dr. Mario. And I think it's John.
Trying.
Again, he is a licensed professional.
And now it goes to A-type.
Ooh, that's my game.
I messed it all up.
Keith's way behind. Keith is, look, I'm not doing good in Tetris.
What is your major malfunction?
I'm having controller issues, to be honest.
Do you guys remember when you were kids, the controller excuse?
Yes, the bad controller, like, oh, this controller's the bad one, even though it's the same exact controller, even though it's still a first-party controller.
But every once in a while, they'd be telling the truth.
Yeah.
And what do you do then? How do you get to the bottom of such a thing? That's why you need a justice system. Dong, dong,
Time up.
You won.
Up, and here's the results. I won!
That much was obvious.
See?
Indeed.
A fun little game. That's kind of a fun thing
Yeah,
to
I
do,
thought it was
isn't
fun.
it?
But wait, why is it one of your favorite games?
Yeah, I was confused by that, because
I mean, Link to the Past is not here.
it's weird.
But Tetris
So you're
is.
saying you like this more than Link to the Past? Which is okay, it's an opinion.
You didn't think of it in those terms.
I didn't.
You like this more than Chrono Trigger?
I do, actually. Chrono Trigger, I'm not a huge fan of. I didn't own Chrono Trigger until I made the collection, and I had not played it until then.
That's valid. There are games out there that are really good that they're not part of my nostalgic experience, and so they never made it into my rotation.
Yeah, I had this game, so I was really excited to play this.
But you shouldn't say I don't like Chrono Trigger.
No, it's okay, it's fine. I like it as much as I like Secret of Mana. I think they're both good games. I like this because it's 2-player and it's fun.
And there's something to be said for casual gaming. It's the thing that causes you to fire up the SNES.
Yeah.
A long RPG can be a little dissuading.
30 minutes before you have to go somewhere, I'm not gonna boot up an RPG.
Can we talk about one classic trope from our childhoods?
Sure.
Leaving the power on the console on all
Absolutely.
day. Because there were no save states.
Yep, that's right.
I was not allowed to do that.
Of course not. Of course you weren't allowed to.
This is a Nintendo, original Nintendo. It had a square light. I cut out a piece of electrical tape to that exact size and put it over so it looks black.
Wow. And if they ever found it, ripped it off, on the other side it said, F you, mom and dad.
The reasons were such bullshit too, like, oh, it wastes power, it used so little power.
Standby mode on the PS4 probably uses
Some
more
people are
power
just
than this.
weird about power.
Yeah.
You know the people who are real like, please leave the room so we can turn this light off?
Next game, Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario.
Oh.
This is like the most fun platforming I think you can get in a single package. Near the end of the Super Nintendo's life, this was a pack-in game.
Right.
So you buy a Super Nintendo, you get this, which is so much entertainment right out of the box.
You might not even need to buy a game.
Near the end, it was like $40 for a Super Nintendo with this game. You know?
$40 with that.
It's not like SMB 1, 2, and 3 are like throwaway casual games.
No, I love the Nintendo originals, but I think the implementation of these is very good. Right?
Can I say something slightly controversial?
Yeah.
I did a playthrough of SMB 1 on my Switch recently.
Yep.
Look, the physics are great. It's a pioneer. It's a respected game. The graphic design is nice for what it is. It's iconic, in fact.
Yeah.
It's not a very good game.
I agree with you.
It's repetitive.
Except I also don't think the physics are that great.
Yeah?
At the time, of course, it was a great game.
revolutionary.
I loved it.
So I think for that reason, you got to give SMB3 huge props for taking that and developing it into SMB3.
I think 3 is objectively the best one.
John prefers Worlds.
I prefer World.
And I can see that. I can't argue why I like 3 better.
I think 3 has a little more diversity, level to
It
level.
certainly had
Yeah.
new ideas, the most new ideas in it. Well, let's power it up here.
Do you guys remember the Mario All-Stars commercial? The one that was like, it's 5 times the Mario. Mario this, Mario that.
But this is juiced up 16-bit only on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Mario. So it's bigger Mario, better Mario, in your face Mario. It's Raccoon Mario, Mario throwing fireballs, Mario hurling turnips, Mario negotiating an arms deal. Okay, maybe not.
Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World special logo there.
You know what's also interesting is nobody ever found it controversial to update the graphics for those old games, even though they were classics.
Yeah. This was the very first, I think, re-release of a game on a superior system.
The idea of like updated graphics.
Yeah, and that was a really exciting idea to me, especially considering you're getting 3 NES games in one.
The thing that excited me most was you're going to take SMB3, which is already so great looking, and you're going to give it that 16-bit push to basically make it just equal with Super Mario World.
Yeah.
I suppose the first HD remaster.
It is. I don't think All-Stars or the All-Stars versions of the first 3 games ever have appeared on any virtual console.
Lost Levels, Super Mario 1, 2, 3, and there's Mario World right there. So you just pick your game. I'm gonna go into Super Mario 3 here.
Everyone must know by now, but in case they don't, Mario Lost Levels is actually Japan's Mario 2.
スーパーマリオブラザーズ2はさすがディスクで下手くそ
Very, very difficult, unfun, I would call it. So our Mario 2 is actually just a reskinning of a game that already existed called Doki Doki Panic.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I can speedrun this game in 15 minutes.
Wow.
Get you...
Using whistles?
Yeah. Whistles. And you do know that any white block you can disappear behind.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I thought it was just a couple.
No, it's any white block.
Wow.
It's only relevant for a few.
Yeah.
I rarely ever saw Luigi in this game because I never play this 2-player. I'm pretty sure in the original he is just a Mario clone that's green.
They really did a nice job of updating this too, like with that cool background that scrolls differently.
It's great.
I'm at he's gonna battle. He's initiated battle mode.
The worst part about this game was trying to just actually play it and then having brothers who...
But now Keith lost his star.
But now I get to play level 2.
That's an interesting mechanic, the idea that you can fight your way to,
play original Mario Brothers from like Atari generation.
the arcade game, yeah.
Oh, these graphics look great on this, don't they?
They do.
I'm also going to pay lip service real quick to what I thought were amazing Saturday morning cartoons based on Mario. There was obviously the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, which was based on Mario 1 and 2.
Yep.
But then there was The Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, I loved the opening.
King Koopa is back with the Koopa Kids.
Everyone thought King Koopa had left the Mushroom Kingdom. King Koopa was back with the greatest danger ever known, his Koopa Kids.
All right, well, that's one of my absolute favorites. If you're gonna make a small collection of SNES games, highly recommend. Next up, Earthbound.
This is one of those cartridges that people are looking for.
The cheapest copy of this on eBay right now for an official one is $277.
Yeah.
A lot of them were made. It wasn't a rare cartridge.
But I think it's probably the highest value cartridge for a game that everybody would really like to play. It's been on Virtual Console.
Yes.
It's been on the SNES Classic. You can play the game.
There's no real reason to buy the cartridge unless you're making a collection. If I was forming a collection today, I probably wouldn't even own this. It's way too expensive. In the 90s especially, weirdness was kind of in vogue. And this game is really kind of weird and off kilter. I just love it. One of the rarest versions of this game is to have it complete with box and the player's guide. The box was huge, had a player's guide inside, and infamously some scratch and sniff stickers.
I used to subscribe to Nintendo Power when I was a child,
Yeah.
and I remember where they were advertising Earthbound. The section of the magazine about it had a scratch and sniff. It was vile. It smelled so bad, and it made you like your fingernail smell disgusting
I bet you
for the whole
like
day.
the ultra wealthy Illuminati types somewhere deep in the mountains are scratch and sniffing their Earthbound thing. Each one of those, it's the last one.
Yep.
And so it's a very, it's like an
huge
ultra,
privilege.
it's like a status thing. Like,
Yeah.
I scratch and
Like,
sniff these.
I ate Panda Bear,
Yeah.
and then I washed it down with scent of Earthbound. you know.
The marketing was all that really counterculture kind of stuff. I don't know if there was this another thing called OK Soda around that time that was also counterculture. Go against the machine in an obvious way.
It's like Gen X knows it's being marketed to.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we know we're marketing to you
Yeah,
too.
so it's fine because we're in on it.
Yeah.
There were a lot of video game commercials for like PS1 and PS2 where the announcer on the commercial was really low energy. So he'd be like, be the only bunny with a gun.
It's no big deal. Have fun.
He's training for his biggest adventure yet. Oh yeah.
One of 36 weapons and gadgets not fit for this world. Rated T for teen.
Conker's Bad Fur Day. Available now.
Put a little effort in it.
Nah. Gen X, man. Slacker generation.
Gen X.
Yep.
What happened to you guys?
A hangover's never pretty, but a squirrel with a hangover, that's just obscene. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Rated M for mature.
I just loved this game. This was one of my absolute favorites, and it looks like it locked up or
maybe this is part of the marketing.
Yeah.
Rated T for teen.
right from the very beginning of this, you get the funky, like, you get the static on the screen. It makes you think, oh, adjust your set. There's something wrong with it. It's all messed up.
Ah,
But
so
then-
there's like an Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
People will think their TV is broken. They'll bang on the television. They won't be able to fix it.
This was actually my cartridge that I played on, which still has the save just before the last
Doesn't that give
boss.
you I put my Chrono Trigger in last year and my save files are still there. I got like a rush out of it.
It makes you slightly emotional. It's like you're talking to your young self.
It is. Like you did it.
I hope everything's gonna be great.
There was a day in which I saved here, and that was the last time I played.
Do you feel a little connected to young Junt?
I do a little.
So obviously, a lot of people who've never played Earthbound probably know Ness and friends from Smash Brothers.
Yes.
Smash Brothers has been really useful in keeping some of the stuff alive.
The thing that I really loved about this game was just how quirky it was and how much humor there was in it.
And that's a tricky thing, I think, for a developer to do because they're not always funny people necessarily.
No. The battle system was also kind of fun too. You get these indicators that as you attack things and as they attack you, like they kind of scroll down like their number counters.
Hearing this music makes me feel like I'm on school vacation and it's hot out and I have a headache. I don't know if I'm having fun or not, but
I'm having a hard summer vacation day as a child. And obviously your family wants you to get out of the house and stop playing them damn video games. And you're like, I am satisfied not being in the freaking sun.
So I remember when we got Super Mario RPG, somehow I ignored all the calls to go outside, and I realized I spent the entire game playing Mario RPG while my two brothers were outside doing garden work with my mom.
Whoa.
Now,
How did you get away with
no
that?
one ever said anything to me, but I got the feeling that I was public enemy #1 of that house.
My dad would start to like slam the door harder as he went in and out of the house. And there'd be more stomping. And you'd just start to get that anxiety of like, I should.
You know, the thing is, like, if you want me to leave the house, just say so.
Yeah.
Don't be the child and slam the door.
I have a child now, and I know exactly how it would go. I go, all right, it's time to go. Time to put away the game. Mm-hmm. Not my dad. Stomp, 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 slam, slam, slam.
He's not telling you to stop, so you're not going to, but your anxiety levels are starting to slowly increase.
The lawnmower outside would get louder. The grass would get cut harder.
Bulldozers showed up.
Eventually my mom would be like, your father really wants your help? He's been trying to tell you for 2 hours.
This was like one of the only games that was set in a semi-realistic world.
It's kind of fun.
Whereas a lot of these games you're playing like
A lot of fantasy worlds.
A lot of fantasy worlds. Just a great game. I had a ton of fun with it.
So there it is. John's got an Earthbound cartridge.
I do.
Don't we know it?
Frankie, my next game has kind of been done to death, but I still cannot leave it off this list. Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy III US edition.
Yeah.
I played this at release. A friend of mine had it. So we played a lot of it together, like just wasting Saturday and Sunday afternoons and mornings and late into the nights. A great game.
Really good RPGs were great bonding experience for the right kinds of friends.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't two-player games, obviously, it was a lot of fun to decide together where we're going, what we're doing next.
There's a two-player mode in this game too. It's pretty light two-player. During a battle, you can both control characters.
To me, that sounds like a way to start arguments.
This game really started the trend of having a powerful Squaresoft introduction to a game. It starts to tell you the story. I mean, Link to the Past did it a little bit, but this gives you like a full graphic and sound experience.
I'll be honest, I never got into the Final Fantasy games because it felt like the bar was a little high to get into them. Can I just jump into the third one, for instance, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely could have.
I know people love that seventh one for the PlayStation.
Yep.
I remember the commercials for it, and I was like, that looks pretty
Like the greatest story ever known is not coming to a theater near you or something like that.
Yeah.
The most anticipated epic adventure of the year will never come to a theater near you.
Final Fantasy VII.
Remember the Final Fantasy Spirits Within movie?
Yes.
That was supposed to be like, they're gonna be CG stars. The idea was there's gonna be a CG model who will be in other CG movies and she'll be your new movie star.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
That did not happen.
We're not going to need actors anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and watch the movie again.
I love these futurists. What makes it one of the best SNES games?
Incredible music and sound and story. That's really the whole package.
I think that in terms of narrative, this game far surpassed any game that ever occurred, at least on consoles. Without this game, you don't have Final Fantasy VII. You don't have epic narratives that came after.
Exactly.
Which I think hitherto wasn't considered the domain of video games.
Yeah. Interestingly, there's no main character in this game, correct?
There is no single main character. There's some kind of centralized villains, but you can kind of form the party however you like. One of the most interesting things is that the villain wins halfway through this game, and that really kind of changes the story tone and makes the heroes kind of go like, oh, you know, we've kind of failed. Let's regroup and try again.
Yeah, it's like Infinity War.
Yeah.
At halfway through.
Yeah.
And then you're on your end game. After this game, I think every RPG has an epic twist halfway through.
Yeah.
Because they did such a good job and it resonated with so many people.
What else you got?
So this one's a little bit unusual. The only Japanese-only game in my set, Super Mario P-Cross.
I have no idea what it is. It's not some Mario game that I somehow didn't know existed.
My guess is it's a puzzle game that has pictures of Mario in the background.
Correct?
Yes, that's kind of true. The Game Boy version did come out in the US, and the Game Boy version came before this. This is the Super P-Cross.
The music is groovy.
Mario's Super P-Cross.
Super Mario Super P-Cross.
Yes. I'll just show you the basic concept of this game, because people might not be familiar with this one.
Very nice looking graphic of Mario himself.
It is nice.
So I'm gonna just do a very simple one.
What's with the hand going?
It's like that kid in Back to the Future 3 who's pointing at his
Means your future hasn't been written yet.
It has Mario mode, which tells you when you make a mistake, okay? Or Wario mode, which does not tell you when you make a mistake, but you have to get it perfect.
Oh, okay.
So you have these number patterns, and these numbers tell you how many to carve out. Carving all 15 on this bottom row, because this is a 15 wide puzzle. Carving 14 on this one, but because I've got one on the bottom, it must be these 14. And then once you've carved the whole picture, it's solved.
You have to draw the picture?
You have to, yes, eventually a picture will form, and the columns and the rows give you clues. It's kind of like Minesweeper, where like there's a 2, so you know that you're touching 2 mines.
Why do you like this?
Hold on.
I mean, he likes Tetris more than Link to the Past.
Okay, so this is the way that they start. They start as a question mark. I'm gonna pick this one.
I love that you think you're gonna turn me around on this. You're like, hang on, there's a question mark. There's 3 blocks. There's 5
No, the
pictures
show
of
gets
fun.
really good. You just gotta wait till season 5.
This game is a lot of fun. I can't quite explain it
It's one of
to
your
you.
favorites.
Everybody's got their kinks.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 6 blocks. There's 2 question marks, okay? You gotta pick
Here's
3
a super
exclamation points.
simple puzzle, okay, Frankie? You mark bad ones with the yellow button, okay? So we know there's nothing on this top row. We can mark them all out. And this one has 8 carved.
It's a guessing game.
Using the maths.
There's some math involved.
It's likelihoods.
It is likelihoods.
It's fun to guess probabilities.
You will eventually get to a point where you say, oh no, it could go either way, and you have to make a guess. Maybe if you have a level where, like, clearly this is Mario's nostril.
See, I've solved it. It's the Japanese character Ro.
Look, I'm charmed. It's very Junt.
All right, so I think that's enough for that one.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Final game, and I know you're gonna give me crap for it because it's another puzzle game.
3 puzzle games?
Tetris
And
Attack.
Tetris.
But this game has nothing to do with Tetris.
It's a good game.
Again, another kind of game that Mario was just slapped onto, really has nothing to do with Mario.
And not even Mario. When Yoshi eventually became his own brand.
Did this game come out after Yoshi's Island? Because I just heard Yoshi's Island music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I can't believe you didn't put Yoshi's Island in here. You're like, well, I wouldn't want it to be redundant, but I put in 3 Tetris games.
I wanted to select games that I really liked that are a little bit not just the obvious top 6 you
understand.
can Google on a list.
Look, Mario P-Cross belongs there. It belongs in like an underfunded school
It
classroom.
belongs in a museum.
It belongs in a museum. So do you.
Which side am I, right or left?
You're gonna be that side.
Right. You want to get 4 in a row. 3 at least, and then, you know, the more the merrier.
So this is like a Candy Crush or something like that.
You can only flip 2 pieces at once.
So the more combos I make, the more junk Frankie has to deal
And
with.
if they hit the top, he loses.
Yes.
There's no vertical flipping?
vertical.
It's really good Yoshi's Island music.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it is what it is.
The other thing that's really good about this game is it's got a pretty impressive technical engine. It has to do a lot of kind of calculation work on things, and it manages to do it quite well considering the limited power of the Super Nintendo.
Who's winning? What level are you in?
Keith is referring to when a confused uncle would walk by a video game and ask, who's winning?
They're playing an RPG and they're like, yeah, what level are you in? And it's like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, the nerdy child would over-explain the game that he didn't really want to hear about in the first place. I run into that all the time with people where like I try to make conversation with them and then they're like, no, it's this.
So
and I'm like, I didn't care in the first place. I thought I'd be like, oh, so you went on vacation? They're like, no.
That's funny, because that happens a lot at work.
Right? All right, well, John's beating me.
Yep.
But
You put up a really good fight that second round.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see you in real Tetris.
Yeah. There's one honorable mention I have, but I don't know if we want to go into.
Sure.
What is it? Is it burger time?
For those who are not familiar with these, what are called EverDrive carts,
You put a little flash card in the top, and you can load it up with ROMs and just play them whenever you want. And since I've gotten it, I play a whole lot more Super Nintendo.
we talked about them a little bit on a previous episode, but what we didn't mention was that they do not emulate. They actually just present the ROM on the flash card directly to the hardware. They're a bit more expensive. I think one of these would go for like $200.
Yeah, $200. This is actually called an SD2 SNES. This emulates special chips.
It probably can play all the Super Nintendo games, or
Yes.
most of them.
Almost all. A game that I found that I've been playing actively, that I like a lot, I didn't actually find it until I got this device and we started doing the show. Kind of redid an assessment of all the Japanese RPGs and found one that's called Marvelous.
Now, you're playing this right now, or you used to play it?
I'm actively playing it. There was a developer at Nintendo who joined after Link from the Past was made, but really, really wanted to make a Link to the Past game. So this game uses the Link to the Past engine, but takes a completely different story and upgrades that engine to add more capabilities to it.
Do you like it better than Link to the Past?
No, I don't think so. That game has a lot of nostalgia, this one doesn't, but this is a really fun game.
So you'd categorize this under Hidden Gem?
Yes.
It's called Marvelous?
It's called Marvelous, Another Treasure Island. There's a really good translation for it. It was not released in the US. It actually uses a special chip, but it only uses it for decoding compressed graphics so it can be a huge game.
It's really neat that if you were developing a game back in the cartridge days, if you wanted to put in the investment, you could have a chip so
For
you
your
can get
game.
more out of
this system.
This was less common back then where they would just wholesale rip off an engine, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of like an early ROM hack.
Indeed. If you're just getting into Super Nintendo, download the emulated copy of this. This game is a lot of fun. You'll have a lot of fun playing it. I certainly have.
So what I saw today were RPGs and puzzle games.
Yeah.
One platformer, the ultimate platformer.
Yes, there's so many great games out there, but these are the ones that were most important to me.
But what games are we going to look at next time?
Games that had the very best, in my opinion, of graphics and sounds.
It's probably Picross.
It's not Picross.
It's Mario like you've never seen him. What's 2 plus 2 Mario? What's the capital of Ohio? Mario. You're gonna live, breathe, eat, sleep Mario. In Super Mario All-Stars, 4 complete Mario games, including the never-seen lost levels. You can't get more Mario than this, which is why the best play here.
Rated M for mature.